1000 GM here on SoCal Q, Coach Q's chess channel. This is brought to you by 1000 GM. We are um, we are looking at some of the games from the 1000 GM Hollywood Norm Classic. So it's their players are fighting for their GM norms, which is big and absolutely huge. And let's take a look at these round two games as we are going here. And, definitely jump in the chat and, tell me what you think about these games because they are super exciting. I'm Coach Q, if you don't know me. I've interviewed a lot of these players, and we are really rolling here to cover their games. And, it's going to be super exciting. So, let me get the chat pulled up here because I'm having trouble seeing the chat. I want to be able to chat with everybody. Weird that It's been so long since I've done this, guys. Chat. Where are you, chat? Okay, chat is over there, but how am I going to keep it so I can see the chat? Alright, that's great. I'm not able to see the chat. Okay. Let me see half the chat. That's really obnoxious. Aha. Welcome, viewer. The one viewer in the chat. I appreciate that. Thanks for viewing. I'm about to get ready to analyze some of these 1000 GM norm games. So, first game we have here is Andy Woodward. Wow. Andy Woodward, the Wunderkind, beat Grandmaster Alexei Sorkin today. So we're going to take a look at that one. I need to send a quick text right away. One moment, everybody. And yeah, so we have this game here. Andy Woodward has beaten a Grandmaster. Well, that's just pretty incredible. They have him listed as an FM, but I'm pretty sure he's an IM. And he's I believe, a 10-year-old kid. So, I mean, we're talking about a pretty high-level chess player. So let's see what happens here. So we have I'm so tired. What's this system called? This is a Grunfeld. And so knight f3, bishop g7. This is all pretty standard. h4. And c5. This move order I don't think is used very often. I mean, h4 is super rare too, though. This must be some seriously modern stuff that I just don't really quite have a clue. So, I mean, just bear with my ignorance of this opening. But let's definitely take a look at this game because, yeah, I mean, it's a really amazing thing that Andy is beating Alexei Sorokin. I interviewed Alexei. He's very serious. He's really to the point, and he's a strong player. So to see this kid going for a win here, I mean, he's playing white. He should go for a win. So what do we have here? E3, knight takes d4, pawn takes d4. Was c takes d the best? What's wrong with queen takes d? Probably nothing wrong with that either, but okay, anyway. And then Alexei played bishop takes d5, which Lichess considers an inaccuracy. And I'm not exactly sure why Maybe because it just gives white the bishop pair. That seems pretty logical. Um, if you're just joining us, this is Coach Q, Dylan Quersha here. I am reviewing one of the 1000 GM games. There's quite a few games that are live, but I want to click through this game where Andy Woodward just destroyed a Grandmaster. So, we're talking about a 10-year-old kid that's beating a Grandmaster right now, and that's doesn't happen every day. So, happening more and more frequently these days. But all right, so we have B6, interesting, and Andy just calmly castles, and Rook C8 is a blunder here, which, if you're talking about modern chess, this is exactly what everyone is looking for. These positions where you play a natural move, right? Like Rook C8 looks so natural here, but it's an absolute blunder, and Lee Chess is just screaming at us that it's a blunder. I can't even see exactly why. Maybe because of pawn takes b6, or um, I don't even know. This is such an opaque position. This is cutting edge theory here, everybody. It's really hard to follow. And apparently Andy blunders with a3. So there was just a completely winning move here with what is it? D5. So apparently D5 is just completely winning here. And I don't fully understand why. Let me check real quick. D5, B5. I mean, okay, you would just think that if Andy had this position prepared, he would find D5. But yeah, he didn't even find it, so it's not that valuable to talk about. So A3, and now Black plays Knight D5, which was the computer's best move originally. And Andy trades off the bishop pair here. That's an interesting decision. And then it just attacks on the queen side. Okay. So, yeah, we can see what white is getting in this position. They have this... Now, they now have this strong passed pawn. And... Yeah, and... I don't quite see how white is, like, so much better here that this should be crushing, but it's interesting. Okay, so Andy wins the A pawn. And if you're just joining us, I'm just taking a look at this game where we have a 10-year-old, literally a 10-year-old beating a Grandmaster. A fully formed Grandmaster, an adult that is really, really good at chess within the top 1.1 percentile likely in all players in the world. And a 10-year-old child just beat them. So this is very exciting. And thanks to 1000 GM for sponsoring this and getting these tournaments going, because it's pretty incredible that we already see something happening, something really great happening. Okay, so I'm just clicking through this game because I want to get to the live game soon. It looks like there was a comment from somebody on this. I'm just interested in seeing. Oh, okay. That was just Lee Chess. Okay, I don't understand how Lee Chess works in these cases, but that's fine. That's fine. Oh, wait. Sorry. Make sure that looks nice on my screen. I'm not in my optimal home setup, so bear with me, everybody, if I'm a little bit technically dense here. Okay, so queen takes a7, and then Andy has these two passed pawns on the queen side. So if and there's no risk here for white, because if these two pawns are lost, we have a 4 versus 3, which is winnable technically for black, but and that's just in the worst case scenario for white. So Andy's just free rolling here, basically. So he does lose the a pawn. That makes sense. And then trades. And then Sorokin just absolutely blunders right away. What? Rook a7? That's very surprising that he would blunder like this. Shouldn't we just play Rook a6 here? Yeah, rook c to a6 is what is the best move. I mean, just to alleviate this pin, and then everything's fine. This pawn can't run because the bishop can come back and always stop it here. And then trading a pair of rooks is actually probably worse for this pawn. And the king is not too far away from coming in. So this just looks bad for for I mean, it looks, sorry, not bad, but not winnable for white. Because like I said, the 4 versus 3 endgame is probably drawn in all practical situations. So here Sorokin blunders, and rook a2 is the obvious move to play rook a1. And rook a6 does not work. Why? Why does that not? Oh, well, you still play rook a1. And wow, he just resigned. That is pretty incredible, everybody. I mean, we have a future Grandmaster here, Andy Woodward, getting a win in round 2. So let's go on to the current games. I want to see the next one. Okay, so here we have Grandmaster. Forgive me if I say this wrong. Bachulun Segmed versus FIDE Master Sethurman. And I interviewed Sethurman. He's a very strong kid. He's 16 years old. He's, like on his way up in the chess world. He's very, very strong. And here we have, it looks like a pretty equal position against Grandmaster Segmed. So if you're just joining us, we're reviewing the 1000 GM games. These games are live right now. We just took a look at Andy Woodward, a 10-year-old international master beating a Grandmaster. That's pretty incredible. He could become the youngest Grandmaster and beat, so forgive me, I'm tired, the newest kid on the block who just beat the record recently. And Andy could do it. But in this game, it looks like white is pretty safe. And Stockfish gives it a equal position, but I like white. I mean, obviously white has the extra pawn, but the opposite colored bishop endgame makes it a little bit harder for white to break through here. And I mean, there's some pressure to be had, and maybe like queen c5, or what else is viable? Queen d4. I mean, there's a lot of moves here for white. So this is a game to keep an eye on. Let's go to the next one and see what we have here too. So we have Grandmaster Arman Mikhailian versus International Master Josiah Stearman. And Josiah Stearman is one of the main organizers of these events. He's helped 1000 GM. Let's also thank National Master Roshan, who has helped put together all these players. So, I am Stearman here is, playing at a little disadvantage because he had to spend time helping organize these events. So it looks like, we have an incredibly complex position. And I accidentally saw the engine evaluation, but I'd like to try to not use the engine evaluation. I'm only an expert. I'm only 2100. That doesn't mean I'm good or anything like that, but yeah. Hold on. I'm not getting my chat. I need my chat. Where's my Twitch chat? Because I need to be able to respond to you all. Where is my Twitch chat? There it is. Okay. I apologize if you said anything into the Twitch chat. This is me right now, not like this. I probably lost one viewer that tried to say something to me. But anyway, so here we have Stearman. It's a super complex position, so let's just dig right into it and see if we can understand the position. So, white has a ton of activity. I think this is the point of the position. And it's white to move, and isn't this pawn just hanging? Is this pawn just hanging? Is there any threats? Okay, he plays bishop f1. Why? Oh, it wasn't hanging. I'm silly. There's a bunch of guards. So the pawn wasn't hanging, and Grandmaster Michaelian plays Bishop F1. That honestly, that's a little bit strange of a move, but I mean, there was a threat of pawn takes B4 and a discovery on the bishop, so I don't know. Um, uh, okay, Bishop F1. It's it's probably a prudent move, but it's kind of an opaque move in my opinion. I don't really see the point of it. I mean, the interesting thing is that he's a grandmaster for a reason, right? Grandmaster Armin Michaelian, like he got the top engine move at a relatively weak depth, but still like one of the top engine moves here, Bishop F1. It's possible that there's a reason why White needs to move the G3 bishop, and there's some pressure on the G file. Um, Something of the sort, but it's not quite apparent to me why that would be, a big problem. Um, yeah. Okay, let's go on, see what else we have going here. Okay, this game is already over. Oh no, my guy Kostya lost. No. No, this is one of my favorite and best friends in the chess community. Uh, I am Kostya Kavutsky, Konstantin Kavutsky, but I call him Kostya. And well, it looks like he lost to another IM, Matavishin, Victor Matavishin. I'm not sure what's going on with the names on Lichess. Let's just click through and see what happened here. Kostya's playing a King's Indian. Interesting. Yeah, interesting queenside play here from White. I mean, honestly, it just looks like Kostya chose a bad opening. But even here, though, he's still doing fine. Queen C2. And maybe it's not even that bad. He'll probably tell me otherwise. Interesting. Okay. So knight F5, knight D6. Yeah, this game is really wild, honestly. I can't really pretend to understand this structure, so I haven't really played the King's Indian this way, just in general. And it looks like Kostya gave up the D6 pawn that's just wrong. But was there any other counterplay for black here? I'm not exactly sure. We should try to get him on the show. That's what my wife, the producer, said. Gloria, the great Gloria Isley, texted me to say that we should try to get him on the show. I don't know if he'll come on after he loses, sadly. But we got to get him on sometime. He has an audience. He is one of the founders of the Chess Dojo, an insanely big group of just amazing chess players from beginner to grandmaster. So they've made so much chess content. I'm very proud of what he's done with that channel. So our friend Victor here, Victor, come on, you can't beat up on Kostya like that. But it's just a game, right? Of course they can. All right, so what's going on here? So yeah, it looks like Kostya's position just fell apart, really. Like, I don't fully understand this position generally, but it didn't look good. Something just went wrong here, somewhere in the middle game. According to the Stockfish, the move here is G5. What did he do? He played bishop h6. That's fine. I mean, this depth is pretty low. Like, I wish I was at home on my monster machine. I can't get quite a good analysis of this position. Okay, well, let's look at the next game anyway. Here we have Robert Shatenko versus Kyron Griffith. The titles are wrong here. Robert's an IM. So what's going on in this position? We have a minor piece ending. Robert has one extra pawn, and I do believe Robert will be able to convert this if he can hold on to the pawn. I don't think it's easy, probably because this bishop is on h6, and this pressure is pretty tough to deal with. I mean, if you move like b3, then white can attack the a3 pawn, and then it looks like there's a lot of ways to attack here, and it's probably not easy to hold on to any of these pawns here. So, did that actually happen in the game? Let me refresh that. I don't know if does it keep the moves because I put it on the board. Ah, okay. Let me get a drink here. So yeah, I find this endgame pretty interesting. This is a pretty nice endgame. So yeah, I find this and yeah, this is a pretty nice one. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for white to hold on to that extra pawn on the queen side. I don't know if my analysis is correct. Let's just double check. So yeah, it looks like the top moves are coming in like bishop c1. But if you have to play bishop c1, you pretty much know this is not working that well. There's also bishop g5 to pin the bishop, so they can't take on b2. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, from a human perspective, I probably would go for bishop g5, because like bishop c1 is just not something you really want to play. But I guess they would enable b3 or even b4. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's pretty interesting, actually. This is a very interesting. Wow. Also, I'm on YouTube, on Facebook. So let's see if we can get a few other people in the chat. All right. That was just a quick interlude. I appreciate that. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, so... Oh yeah, I need my Twitch chat. Twitch chat. Come back, Twitch chat. Okay. So... Yeah, bishop c5 is possible, and so is bishop g5. It looks like Robert has moved. What did he end up playing? Oh, no, Robert has not moved. Okay. So Robert has 33 minutes, and Kyron Griffith has 9 minutes. So that's actually kind of in the danger zone here. I don't think they're getting any sort of bonus time. Yeah. Okay, is that our last game? So we have 5 games of each round. So that is going to be. Oh, okay, Robert moved. He played bishop c1. Yeah, guys, if you don't know Robert, like, Robert is one of the nicest kids in chess. He's also very talented. He's wrote a few articles for me. He wrote an article for Rank and File magazine, which I'm the editor of. And in this game, he is trying to hold on to his extra pawn. And the computer is saying this position is completely holdable. But as a human and with 8 minutes left on the clock, I do not see how Black is gonna survive this game. Um, I mean, it's interesting when I was talking to Grandmaster Camille Dragoon, who played in the St. Louis series of 1000 GM. He was talking about how even small things like this at this level, with two international masters. It says FM, but he's an IM. With two international masters um, playing each other, the smallest difference, even in say time management, can mean you know between the ability to draw this position and losing this position for Black. So, if I were to give a prediction here, it looks like Black's in trouble because they're down the pawn and they have 7 minutes on the clock. And I don't think there's any bonus time for this tournament. So, it's going to be very interesting. Also, if you're watching on Twitch, definitely jump in the chat and post some emojis. Tell me who your favorite player is. We've got a bunch of very strong players here. Like, let's just real quick look at the list. And here we have. I just want to make sure that looks cool. Uh, we have Alexei Sorkin, and we have International Master Andy Woodward, Grandmaster Bachlun, and FIDE Master Sethurman, International Master Stearman, Grandmaster Michaelian, International Master Kavutsky, International Master Madavishin, International Master Griffith, and International Master Robert Shatenko. So we have really strong players here. Jump in there and tell me who your favorite player is, because put it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, because these guys are all really good. Okay, let's go back. I just saw a move from FM Sethurman in this game that the computer thinks is holdable, but looks dangerous for Black. The opposite colored bishops give Black the ability to hold on to this position, but White does have the extra pawn again. So you see this tension, right, where one side will sack a pawn for a holdable endgame, and that's exactly what Black team is doing. I mean, the pawn is on a3 and it's being blockaded by this a4 bishop. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's much chance at actually breaking through here. This pawn is really going nowhere. So, and Black team doesn't have any other weaknesses. Like, everything is pretty solid here, and the king can hide on h7 anytime. And I would say White's dark squares are a little bit weaker, but it doesn't really matter because there's no way that Black team can attack the dark squares, so that's probably why this position is just almost dead equal. Excuse me. My back is hurting a little bit. Welcome if you're just joining us. We are watching and reviewing some of the 1000 GM Hollywood Norm Grandmaster Norm Classic. I'm Coach Q, I'm your guide, and, well, just have some fun. This is pretty high-level chess, and it's something that hasn't been happening. These are in-person live games, so this hasn't been happening, and it's just exciting to see it going, and we thank 1000 GM for that. The 501c3 1000 GM. Definitely consider making a contribution to them. If you donate anything to this stream, we will send it straight to 1000 GM. That is, if Twitch doesn't eat it all first, but yeah, we'll send it to them, and that'll go in your name. So yeah, this is looking drawish. Let's go to the next game. So Stearman and Michaelian. Wow, so a lot of things have clarified since we saw this position last. So we saw this position after bishop f1, and black plays h5. So that's the main reason why bishop f1 was played. So h5, h4 was a big threat here. And so white plays h4 anyway. Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want the bishop dislodged. It's logical. Queen drops back to e7, and white takes on c5. I mean, why? Okay. Yeah, I don't quite see why the computer rates this as like a completely... Let me refresh right in 1 second because the engine wasn't running properly. So back here, the computer was giving this like +2, +3 for white, but it seems that white lost control maybe with this queen b3 move. Stockfish is saying that e5 was the best move here. So I'm not sure. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, I'm Coach Q, Dylan Quercha. I am commentating for 1000 GM, the 501c3, putting on this amazing tournament, the Hollywood Norm Classic. An absolutely amazing tournament with just massive young talent on the West Coast. So yeah, stick around, watch, tell your friends, jump in the chat, comment, like, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do as a good internet viewer, and let's see what's happening in this game. So Stearman's trying to hold on to this position with a really admittedly awkward knight. I think one of the reasons why this position is so much better for white is this knight is just poorly placed. But rook d8 takes, and the liquidation of material here is pushing the game further and further closer to a holdable position for black. Now the engine is still giving at least 1.5 plus, so a pawn, and which is this e4 pawn, obviously. But what we humans know is that it's very hard to win 4 versus 3. So if all the material trades off, this 4 pawn versus 3 pawn endgame is theoretically winning, but it's so hard to win. You have to have very, very good technique, and I mean, maybe Grandmaster Michaelian does have it. So he has 19 minutes versus I am Stearman's 23 minutes. So we'll see what can happen here. Yeah, what can happen here? I don't know. I do not know. Okay, let's go take a look at another game here while we're waiting for a move there. Let's go to... Oh yeah, poor Kavutsky. I can't believe Kostya lost that game. King's Indian's a treacherous game. Kostya lost to I am Matavishin. And yeah, here we are in the I am Griffith game versus International Master Robert Shatenko. So it's the position, a very similar position that I thought could happen. And I guess one thing I didn't note earlier that is pretty obvious now is that black's king can infiltrate much faster than white's king. And it makes this position super hard to win now. And you might be saying, why not bishop e3 check? But I think the point is, then king to c4, and then after bishop a7, this bishop can take on b2, and this king is super close to the a pawn. So that would lose both pawns. Why not just something like b3 here? That seems like a pretty logical move. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is Coach Q. We are reviewing the Hollywood 1000 GM Norm Classic here, brought to you by the awesome, amazing new 501c3. Just amazing what they are doing to bring these tournaments to the West Coast and to have more in the United States, more norm tournaments where these super strong players can obtain their titles. Something we are missing in America. Completely missing this. And, I mean, not completely, I shouldn't say that. Because St. Louis has it, Charlotte has it, there's some organizations in San Francisco, there's organizations in New York. Okay, it's a great time for chess is what I'm saying. But 1000 GM is trying to take that to the next level, and I'm very excited about that. Here we have Robert thinking about what to play. I mean, b3 seems like a very good practical chance with the idea, oh no, b3 doesn't work because of king c3. So, okay, that's just silly. Someone should have told me what's going on. I'm just kidding. It's not that easy to see. So, but why not bishop d2? I think because of king c4, and this king is getting in, and like I said earlier, when we were looking at this position way back here, right? I started in this position with the bishop on a6. h6, and it's very hard to hold on to these pawns on the queen side. I mean, it just seems like at some point white is going to have to give one of them. And Robert just plays b3. G4, I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. I've been traveling for about a week. Driving all the way across the country. So G4... That's interesting. I mean, it doesn't deal with this king c4, king b3 idea, though. Like, I mean, maybe that idea is just not stoppable. Oh, I see. Okay, so there is a problem with that plan, because if white gets f4, f5 in, they can create the pass pawn, and this pass pawn will be faster than black's pass pawns. But I assume black will push his pawns also first before liquidating, say, this bishop on b2. So it doesn't seem like this is going to go anywhere for white. But let's take a look at that time. 5 minutes for International Master Griffith. So, yeah, I mean, this is anybody's game still. Well, either Robert's game or a draw, probably. So we'll see if the talented young Robert Shatenko can pull this win out. I mean, if anybody can do it, he certainly can do it. He's very strong and international master already. I believe he's only 16. So let's look at one of the other 3 games we have going on. What happened here after queen a2, queen f6, and white posts the queen on d5, and Stearman is forced to block with the knight. I assume king a7 was bad because of bishop d3. Yeah. I mean, if there's any strong players out there, definitely jump in anytime here. Post in the chat. You know, if you subscribe to my channel, I'm donating the proceeds to 1000 GM, the new non-profit, and you get this beautiful SoCal Lopez, which is my face in the Rui Lopez painting. Anyway, let's keep going. So knight f8. And yeah, it looks like black has gone wrong here somewhere. I mean, now the pieces are pretty passive, and white is quite active here. The computer is saying this is +4, so there's clearly a way to win here, but what is it? What is the correct plan here? Is there some sort of sack here? Probably not. I was thinking you can play rook f8, king f8, queen a8, and then the king has to... Oh, then you can block here. Yeah, that doesn't look very good. But maybe there's some way to do something else first, and that idea is always in the air. Is there any way to get this bishop over here? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Alright, let's cheat for a second. Okay, you know, the computer wants to play e5 here every single time, and it's such an anti-human move. Like, here Grandmaster Michaelian played Rook C8, which makes way more sense with the idea of playing Queen A8. So, yeah, that makes way more sense. Um, how does Black stop that idea? Does Black even need to stop that idea? Because there's always Queen E7. Queen E7 and then Bishop C4. Yeah, okay. There are some major problems here. I'm starting to see. Oh, oh, there's an echo. Okay. Um, tell me if that solves the echo. Does that solve the echo? There was an echo. We need more not like this face. And then wait, we'll do this guy, and then we'll do the lol guy laughing. Clearly, I had the. Oh. Oh. I would have been able to hear it too if I had my headphones. So I'm wearing headphones and they weren't plugged in at all. Yup. Yup. Okay. Let's move on and see if Grandmaster Michaelian can win this game here. Um, all right. So yeah, I mean, okay. So now that makes sense. I saw Bishop C4 happening here. I mean, there's a lot of problems here. For international Masters Tierman, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to this position, but we will see. Let's jump back to the. I want to see the Griffith game. This end game is very interesting to me, and yeah, so Robert is going for the plan that I thought that White should play here to create this passed pawn. Can Black just play h4, h5, and then come take pawns? Is that going to be too slow? What is the other plan here for Black? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I mean, it is a really fascinating endgame because, you would love to have that extra pawn, but okay, so Black is playing a5, so it's a pretty simple plan for both sides. Okay, okay. I'm getting why this is not winning for White because if you ever push f5 here, the king just comes back and wins the f5 pawn. And then it's just dead equal. Because you'll have, AB, AB, HH, and yeah, you have three pawns, and dead draw. But if White allows Black to keep pushing and taking, and they will be able to, I think, take the b2 pawn. Or maybe there's just no progress to be had at all. Like, you just can't ever push f5 without this king coming back to win it. And the bishop is so stuck on c1 that there's just nothing to do here. Maybe it's just like literally a nothing to do here kind of situation. This is pretty fascinating position actually, everybody. For even the non-chess nerds out there, this is fascinating because, well, like when one side gets like totally tied down, but they should be winning. They have this extra pawn. The extra pawn, can be make or break a game, right? You can win a game just from that one extra pawn. But it doesn't mean enough here because Black's king is so active, and the c1 bishop is just so passive. Like there's just no way to make progress there. I mean, it's just quite amazing. Okay, so Robert's going to think a few minutes on that. Let's go back to the Stearman game because this game is super exciting. I mean, there's so much going on. Okay, so Grandmaster Michaelian goes for the plan that I thought that he was going to play for, and Stearman defends in the exact same way that I thought he was going to defend for. But I think one of the huge problems here is that this knight is just stuck on f8 the whole time. And white has super easy ways to activate their pieces here. I mean, it's not like the g3 bishop is doing that much right now, but, you know, there are dark squared weaknesses on this king side, so maybe some stuff like the bishop moving out and attacking on h6 or something like that in the future is possible. Not exactly sure, but bishop c4 seems to be the right move next. I think I spied that. Yeah, I mean, the computer is just saying this move is completely this position is completely crushing for white. And I would agree from a practical perspective, this is pretty much winning for white. So even from a technical perspective, it's winning, and from a practical perspective, you know, there's a difference between a technically winning position and a, you know, a position that's easy to play. Or easy to win, right? Like you have to work hard to win. Then there are opportunities to save the game from the other side. But here, I mean, white has all the play and the pieces are coming in. Okay, here goes bishop c4. So Grandmaster Michaelian plays it. Bishop c4 is on the board. We have this rook en prise and a lot of pressure on this diagonal. What will black play? Oh, is this rook just trapped? The rook is almost trapped. So we have e5. Is there e5, e6? Is that part of the plan here? And then sack. So e5, rook f5. And what exactly is black going to do about e6? e6, f6 maybe, but that's super ugly. Yeah, e5, the computer gives bishop takes f2 check. So e5, rook f5, queen c6. e5, rook f5, queen c6, hitting the b6 bishop. And threatening rook e8. Is that part of the point? Yeah, e5 on the board. Yeah, I mean, e5 is a super easy move this time because the rook is basically like almost trapped. And you also have e6 at some point. It does feel strange to block this bishop in most of these positions, but, you know, sometimes you have to play a counterintuitive move to get more in the future. The times are not... I mean, the times are pretty close, 12 to 20, but Grandmaster Michaelian just goes for trying to win the exchange here. Was bishop f2 forced? Couldn't you give in the exchange this way? Oh no, because the queen is tied to the knight, so that doesn't work. So bishop f2 is forced. But after bishop takes f2, rook takes e5. Well, black gets a piece and white gets 2 pawns. So I'm not sure exactly how this is won, but yeah, I mean the bishop pair must be simply enough to just be crushing here, and the fact that the knight is tied down on f8, yeah, that's pretty bad too for black. Huh. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is Coach Q, Dylan Quersha here. journalist extraordinaire, and a new commentator for 1000 GM, the nonprofit, bringing you top level chess. Like some of the best players in the world and on the West Coast. We got Grandmaster Michaelian trying to get a win against International Master Stearman. And Stearman had to sack a piece for 2 pawns here. And this position is looking pretty bad. Yeah, I don't see that the young Josiah Stearman will be able to save this one. So let's go, and we haven't taken a look at the Grandmaster Bachaloon versus FIDE Master Seth Thurman game in a while. It's still reasonably complex. Like, this position is not easy to play, I don't think. But the computer is giving it zeros. And likely because of this bishop, opposite colored bishops here. And the fact that the extra pawn is the a3 pawn. Which is not very, dangerous at all. It's so far back. It's got to walk pretty far to get to the other side, so... And... yeah, I think we'll definitely see a draw in this game. Which is not a bad result for FIDE Master Seth Thurman, because his FIDE rating is only around 23 something. 23 and change. And, well, he's playing a Grandmaster, so... never bad to get a draw against a Grandmaster. That's pretty awesome. Let's go back to the end game we were looking at. Robert, International Master Shatenko, is trying to draw this game, but it's not... trying to win this game, because he has the extra pawn. But it's not quite looking like he's going to be able to do that, so... no, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, we'll probably see a draw in this game soon. He's been thinking for a solid 8 minutes or so. So, okay, any moves in this game? Okay, yeah, we should stay on this game because this game is exciting. So we left it after Black sacked the pawn. I'm sorry. Black sacked the piece for 2 pawns. And Grandmaster Michaelian simply played King H2 to get the king off the back rank. King G7 unpins the knight. And after Bishop G3, the rook is on pre. So there's some problems. So Black had to respond here. And Rook E3, Queen A1 check. King H7. So now the knight is unpinned. This is kind of interesting. The knight is unpinned, but I think the only way that that Black can draw this game is if they win both pawns, right? I don't see how Black's drawing this game. The knight is unpinned, but it's now repinned. Because if the knight moves, there's a checkmate on H8. So, yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if the knight moves, it's checkmate. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, it's not really unpinned. That's just a misnomer. I do like the geometry here of the queen going back to A1 check. A backwards queen move. Right? King and, well, yeah, it's almost like Black is playing down 2 pieces here, right? Because the knight is so useless. Yeah, so this game is going to be over pretty shortly. I can't even really quite come up with a good move for Black. Would it make sense for Okay, yeah, so there's a threat for white here. So rook takes f8, queen f8, and then queen takes e3 is already a threat. So black has to deal with that. Can black deal with that? Rook e6 maybe? That looks really sad still. Hold on, let me give thumbs up to Shrikant Blanglor, the man with the plan, the guy, the mastermind of this whole entire operation, is in the chat talking about checkmates. 100%. Decisive games in the IM section. Sure, yeah, let's switch over to that. I appreciate that. Giving me a little bit of producerly direction. Let's find the Hollywood IM section. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We're missing a whole 50% of this broadcast. So let's just go through these one by one. What do we have here? So this is the IM section of the Hollywood Classic. So let's switch over to these games and take a look. We have Lee Hanshi and Grandmaster Batoon, which is pretty amazing. We got him to play here. This game is really locked up. Absolutely no idea what's happening here. Just switching to this is like looking at puzzle soup, because I don't know what's going on. There is some sort of weird Alekine's gun over here, aiming at this pawn, which is fully guarded. Oh, I guess there's a ton of pressure on that pawn. What? Black has every piece aiming. Every single piece is aiming. Oh my gosh, look at the time over here too. 34 seconds? Are you kidding me? Why can't black just take this pawn? I mean, that seems good, right? Is there a reason? 1, 2, 3, 4 guards. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 attackers. I don't get it. There's 5 attackers here. And there's only 4 guards. So what was I missing there? That's confusing. Okay, black could have taken that pawn. So I'm not wrong about that. They should have played bishop a4. But 98 is significantly worse. Because it allows knight b5, yeah. So now black can't take the pawn. So what was black afraid of here? I mean, I guess the time pressure, right? So I said this in the Grandmasters section, but if you look at the difference here, you know, Grandmaster Batoon did not have a huge lead in this position, and it was a nice advantage, but not a decisive advantage. And black misses bishop takes a4 because of the time pressure. Look at that time. 55 seconds left on the clock now. Okay, let's keep going. What else do we have here? Yeah, I mean, the Shrikant was right. This is exciting over here in the IM section. Wow. Okay, so we have International Master Aaron Grabinski. I believe a homegrown West Coast International Master. That's pretty amazing. And FIDE Master Max Gedlovich. And we have an endgame. Well, it's converting to an endgame right now, basically, before our eyes. Where, if I were to just look at this position, I would say black is better. But I guess this bishop is pretty not very useful. And this knight is much more active than the bishop. So, if you compare the counterparts, I mean, this pawn looks very dangerous on c3, though. So that could lead to something. Yeah, that could lead to something. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to lead to, though. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the point here is that this position is dangerous for the black king. So white probably has to go for some sort of. Oh wow, black just blundered. White blundered. I'm sorry. White blundered here. Why is that a blunder? Is it because Queen G6, King A8 isn't actually doing anything? Queen takes A6 check and then just Bishop A7. I mean, this looks really tough to play though. But black does have 14 minutes. So maybe they will find the right move. I mean, I just saw the right move, which is C2. So would I be able to actually play that in a game? I don't know. That's pretty tough. You have to calculate a lot here. Queen G6 is the most obvious move. King A8. Queen takes H6 check. Oh, I see. Okay, well, I guess that does make sense. Oh, wow. And if you take okay, this is very interesting. So the queen is guarding the H6 pawn here. So a move like Queen G6 does not have as much power because after King H8, you don't really want to trade the queens here. I mean, it's not that you don't really want to; it's dead lost if you trade the queens because if Queen takes H6, Rook takes H6 check, and then the C2 pawn will be promoting. So, wow, what a strange blunder, honestly. Yeah, I mean, again, look at the time differences 8 minutes to 15 minutes. That's where the blunders are happening. You have to get your time management under control. But, with that said, that's what separates stronger players from weaker players is they can do the calculations much faster. They can really power through all those calculations and well go for the wins and have much more time for more pivotal positions. So it looks like Rook takes E5 was the best move here. Just sacking so you can check the king forever. Uh, okay, so there's C2 is on the board. C2 is on the board. Very nice international master Grabinski. I cannot believe what a beautiful move. That is exciting. Wow. Just to be able to see this live, that's pretty incredible. All right, so that's gonna. I mean, White only has 8 minutes, so. But I want to jump to the next game because we haven't taken a look at all. FIDE Master Austin May versus I am Alexander Ostrovsky. I got a nice interview with Ostrovsky, so go check that out on the 1000 GM YouTube. And and well, this looks like a completely drawn position. There is nothing happening at all. Again, black has the extra pawn, but it doesn't mean much. The pawn is so far back. And this bishop on g7 is not very useful. So, okay, 7 minutes to 1 minute from I am Ostrovsky. So, I mean, any results are still possible here, but it doesn't look like too hard of a position to play with moves like Rook d7, Queen d7. What else is there here? Queen e6 being threatened. Obviously, the Rook is in danger, so they'll have to move that at some point. But let's give a thumbs up to Shrikant here. And then let's do PogChamp. Let's go. All right. Yeah. Interesting position, but I think it's probably going to be a draw. Okay, now we have another really complex position with FIDE Master Milind Mighty and FM Ruyang Yan. So, two players at very similar levels. And, well, let's see what is actually happening. I mean, jumping into this game is pretty tough because optically, I don't really know what's going on with all these knights covering a million squares. Look at these knights. Oops, I did not mean to make that move. Let's refresh it real quick to clear that move. Hey, where's the game? Oh, there it is. So, is the material equal? Yes. Both teams have a bishop pair. All the minor pieces on the board, though. That means that anything can happen. They both only have 1 minute. Oh my gosh. They both only have 1 minute. This is crazy. Okay, well, wait. Is that... Yeah, it literally is 1 minute. Okay, let's keep it on this game for a little bit. If you're just joining us, we are commentating on the 1000 GM. This is the IM section of the Hollywood Norm Classic. All these players are fighting for IM norms. And white plays h3. What is h3? Preventing knight g4 of some sort, but why would that be a threat? h3 makes no sense in this position. I mean, h4 would make sense, but h3, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what is? I mean, I guess they want g4, but bishop g6 is where this bishop wants to go anyway. Right? Am I right? Anyone have a clue there? Okay, well, I don't know if anyone has a clue or not, but this position is super close. They do get increment, so if you see that 1 minute and you're wondering why it doesn't tick down, well, they get 30 seconds every move they make. So that'll give them a little bit of leeway, but we're looking to see some blunders here. With the position this complicated, with 4 minor pieces on the board, I mean, there's gotta be I don't know. What's gotta happen there? Something's gotta happen. Something's gotta break. Alright, so knight h4. Malind is under 30 seconds, everybody. Under 30 seconds. I just can't believe it. Whew. Wow. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Okay, Bishop went back to h5. Why? No. Wrong. No. Please. I mean, I'm sitting here on the couch watching this game, commentating on it. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find the very, very best moves. But bishop h5 does not make sense to me. I mean, why not like bishop b6 to activate this piece? I sometimes moves like this do work, but I'm very doubtful of something like this. Okay, let's just get to the last game real quick. Just so we can take a look at it. Oh! Our man Roshan Mahajan. He got a win versus FIDE Master Vatsal Hania. He played in last week's International Master Norm Classic. So this is his second in a row. That's a lot of chess, everybody. So he's probably really warmed up. And he just plays a ready opening here. Interesting position so far. And he just gets a nice little advantage out of the opening, it looks like. Gains the bishop pair, so he just, traded the knight for the bishop, but now this pawn is a pass pawn. That's also a huge advantage. Why not take with the h pawn? I don't understand, but okay. And then black is definitely making some mistakes here. Knight 5, knight c3, bishop d6, e5. And black tries to sack here, but it doesn't quite work, it looks. Yeah, this knight e4 holds things together. And Roshan makes the right choice of playing bishop e3. I like that move. Ready to develop the rook. And the king is totally safe, which is really kind of crazy. And then black blunders here with g5. It looked like h6 was best. To give this king a little bit of room. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, this is already worse for black, so not a huge deal. But, okay. Wait, what? Queen d7? Doesn't really make much sense because now you just play bishop g4. And how do you save this knight? Weird. Okay, so... Oh, it's a trade. Okay, you save the knight by attacking on e4, but... that doesn't do much when you're down a piece already. Yeah, and then black trades queens, which won't lead to much. Okay, nice game by Roshan. Nice, congrats, candidate master Roshan Mahajan and national master. Let's go back to this mighty game. So we last saw bishop h5 and then knight f5. Are they just going to repeat? Okay, they must be taking a draw here. Because it says Malin's time ran out, but... I don't think that would happen. Yeah, it looks like they're taking a draw here, so... Oh, they did repeat. Yeah, 1, 2... Wait. Let's count the number of repetitions. So 1... Oh, wait, no, the pawn's moved already, so after the pawn moves. So 1, 2, 3, yeah. So they just repeated here because their time, both of them were in extreme time pressure. So that's a good practical decision from the two FIDE masters. So let's go back here. This game, I mean, this stuff is all super close still too. I mean, the times are just like crazy. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to 51 seconds. So black can take the A pawn and white can take the B pawn. Yeah, white will have to be careful here that this A pawn doesn't run too fast. The practical chances are now looking good for black in this position. Okay, rook b5 is the very best move. I guess because if you take it, I don't quite see why that would be an easy draw. Maybe the king would walk up. Yeah, king h2. This king can activate this way. Very tricky. Not an easy thing to do. Especially with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. Okay, let's go back to this game. And Grabinski is playing it just super well. I mean, this is a nice masterclass in how to use this C pawn. Knight e3 is a nice attempt to attack the h6 pawn. So what does black play here? I mean, can't you just rook queen g1 and then c1 and promote? Queen g1, king h3, and then bishop h7 is what the computer says. But, like, why can't you just play this plan? Oh, this is also completely winning. Okay. So just taking a look at this line. Yeah, so what I thought here is that, oh, you can play king f8, and the king just escapes here, which is not easy to see, actually, that the king is escaping. Oh, because there's no check here on g7 because this queen covers. Okay, so that was just my little experiment to check out that position. A pretty interesting position, actually. Just tabbing through the... I mean, this is the most... If you see that the king escapes to f8 and then e7, this plan doesn't look too bad, though it is a little scary. I mean, but I don't think bishop h7 is any less scary, though, is it? Because of rook takes h6. Yeah, that's... I mean, honestly, that's a harder move to calculate, in my opinion, but... I mean, I am Grabinski is going to know what to do here. With 7 minutes and 56 seconds, this is pretty much over. So let's go back to this game here with Austin May playing Alexander Ostrowski. And the minor piece traded. I think it's interesting to see how the minor pieces trade here. So after rook b5, king h2, bishop c3, and then knight d4, I see. Now, why does black just trade here? Is there something that I'm missing? I guess you can't really allow this knight to come to e6. That would be quite dangerous for the king. Okay, so they traded, and then after trading now, white gets the pawn, and this is dead drawn. So that position is dead drawn. And they took a draw here, a repetition. So we're getting close to the end of this round. Oh yeah, we already saw this game, or Mahajan. Oh yeah, the first game, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, where Lee blundered in this position. Let's see. Oops. Ah. So we didn't see the very end of this. So let's take a look at the very end. White didn't even play knight b5. Interesting. So white just advanced the pawn, and then Lee blunders with e4, which looks like a natural move. So, you know, that's a grain of salt. That's a blunder. But now rook b6. How does that work? I'm confused. Why can't you just take on b6 with the rook? I don't. What am I missing here? What am I... Oh, wow. Really nice. Really nice. Then the pawn... Oh, that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Okay, so if you didn't understand what I just saw, taking on b5 would allow black to win a rook, but then the white would grow back the queen. Wow, that's really beautiful. Okay. Queen takes b6 was played in the game, and, well, the same thing happened, but I guess black got c3. But this is over now because the pawn is promoting and there's no way to stop it. So black resigns because this pawn is going to b8 and will make a new monarch, a new queen will come to the board. Alright, so what games are left are playing? Let's take a look. Wait, there was a button we could push. So only 2 games left in this round for the IM section. Puzzle Master. Yeah, I Overlord helped me. Honestly, I got really lucky to see that. I'm not a genius. I am an expert, but I'm not a genius. um, yeah, and now black is just lost here. It looks like what did I'm sorry, white is just lost. Black found this easy plan of blocking with the rook, I think. And yeah, that's lost also. So I thought the easy plan would play queen g1 check, but black saw this easy, simple plan to block with either the bishop or the rook. And now I don't see a way that they can stop queen g1 check and then promoting the pawn. Because if you play something like queen g2, then e3 knight is hanging. So, yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's dead lost, and then this game is very interesting though. It's probably going to go to a draw. Yeah, okay. So that those are all over. Let's take a look real quick at the Grandmasters section again. That was the International Masters section of the Hollywood Norm Classic. Let's go back to the Grandmasters section, see who's still playing. We only have one more game left in this one, where FIDE Master Sethuraman has an extra pawn, but it's very well blockaded, and the opposite colored bishops make this position pretty equal. So yeah, this is gonna peter out to a draw probably. And oh, I mean, we'll see. There's still a lot of pieces on the board. And the time is pretty close, 2 minutes to 3 minutes. So this is a pretty interesting position to take a look at. We'll stay on this one for a little bit. Yeah. Excuse me, everybody. If you're just joining us, by the way, this stream is brought to you by 1000 GM, the non-profit that are creating all these amazing tournaments, giving everyone on the West Coast and in America a chance at getting titles, so they don't have to travel to Europe. They don't have to spend $850 a tournament. You know, they get in for free, and they get to play some incredible chess, and we all benefit from that. And the Grandmasters that are playing this get a nice pay rate, and everybody's happy. Here, so white can try like queen c5 here. I mean, that move looks hard to play though, because why not like queen d1, and then things start looking dicey for the white king. I think the thing that black has here is that the white king is more exposed. So with the white king more in the open, it's a little bit easier for black team to play. Now, do I expect Sethuraman to blunder? No. Sethuraman has the extra pawn, and there's no reason to go crazy here, right? They don't have to do anything crazy. And actually, a move like queen c5 isn't a big problem, because queen d1 doesn't even make a threat, because the queen can always go back to f2. So similar idea from Sethuraman. He goes queen c3. I think that's probably still... Oh. Oh, man. That's a huge blunder. Wow. Uh-oh. Grandmaster Sethuraman is... Or, sorry, FIDE Master Sethuraman is in trouble. Grandmaster Bachulun is... He has a chance now. Has a big chance at a nice move. Now, queen d1 is also winning, which is what I thought black is going to play here. If you're just joining us, we're looking at the Grandmaster section of the Hollywood Norm Classic. And, well, we have a Grandmaster trying to go for a win. Blunder down under, says Overlord Help Me. Yes, that is true. It does look like a blunder down under. Queen A7, the computer is pointing out, is also a winning move. I don't think it's super clear, but it's from what I was talking about earlier, where white's king is more exposed, that will always cause more problems. So, yeah, queen d1 or queen a7 are winning, and Grandmaster Bachloon has only 53 seconds left, so let's see if he can find it. I would vote queen d1 will be played here, just because that's just a much simpler move to find than the geometrically challenging queen a7. And welcome if you're just joining us. We are looking at one of the last games of the round, Grandmaster Bachloon against FIDE Master Sethuraman. And it looks like Sethuraman has just blundered with queen c3. Queen d1 is the obvious move, and there's also queen a7, which was pointed out by Stockfish. So we might see this game come to a close here soon. Wow, they agreed to a draw. What? They agreed to a draw here after white blunders. Now, can anybody tell me why? I know exactly why. The time on the clock. I mean, if queen c3 is accurate, I mean, sorry, I just clicked off the window. Hold on, let me put that back up. If queen c3 was accurate, then Grandmaster Segmed is going to really not be happy that he let this one get away. But time pressure makes fools of everybody, including Grandmasters. So, you know, at least when you draw your games on Lead Chess or Chess.com or the fun games that you're playing, and you're like, why did I draw that game? I should not have. Just think about the Grandmaster here drawing the game against the FIDE Master. Okay, let's see if any games are playing. Okay, so all the games are over in the IM section. Let's just do a quick recap of that. So first game, we had a big, huge upset. FIDE Master Andy Woodward beat Grandmaster Alexei Sorokin. That's a big one. That's going to give him a chance at a GM norm. And here we had FIDE Master Sethuraman drawing Grandmaster Bachloon Segmed. And we had Grandmaster Armin Mikhelian winning against International Master Josiah Searman. Nice game there. And then a dagger to my heart, my good friend International Master Kostya Kavutsky losing to International Master Victor Madavishin. Madavishin's very strong, so it's not a shame to lose as black to a strong IM. But of course Kostya won't like it. I'm sorry, Kostya. And FIDE Master Robert Shatenko drawing. Let's see if we can get the standings up here anywhere. How do we get those standings? Okay, we'll do those later. Let's go back to the Grandmaster section to see if any of those games are still going. Oh, sorry, the International Master section. I apologize. Okay, all of those games have finished as well, so let's do a quick recap of that. Grandmaster Batoon beats Untitled player Lee. And International Master Grabinski wins with black against FIDE Master Gedjilovic. And International Master Ostrovsky draws against FIDE Master May. And another draw here with FIDE Master Jan versus FIDE Master Maiti, with a very, very, very tricky time pressure. And then a nice upset here. This is a pretty good one. Candidate Master Roshan Mahajan beats FIDE Master Vatsal Singhania. And that's a nice one because Roshan played the very first International Master Norm Classic in Hollywood. So he got a nice win here. This is very nice. So if I'm gonna be on all week doing this commentary for 1000 GM, so definitely jump in and take a look at these games. They are super exciting. If you want to look at them yourself, you can just go to Lead Chess and just look for the Hollywood classics. And this is amazing. We have real games happening in real life with strong chess players. So thanks to 1000 GM, the nonprofit, for making this stream possible and for making these tournaments possible. And also a shout out to um, a very special grandmaster, Var Akobian. Shout out to Var Akobian. We appreciate all the work that he's doing to organize stuff in St. Louis. So really nice games tonight. Looks like they're pretty much all over. Let's just double check. Yeah, these games are all over. And Hollywood Chess IM section. Yeah, all the games are over, so I'm going to sign off for tonight, but I'll be on tomorrow. I'll hopefully do a couple hour stream of the games tomorrow. Let's see if we can get, let me see if I can get a, okay, yeah, we got a leaderboard here. So let's just do a recap of who's winning. It looks like Aaron Grabinski in the, wait, which one's this one? The I Am Norm Classic. Let me just double check that that's displaying for you guys correctly. Yeah, so he has won 2 out of 2. That's a nice score so far. Alexander Ostrovsky with 1.5, and Roshan Mahajan 1.5. That's a pretty good start for him, who had a little bit of a tough event last week. So also shout out to Roshan, who has done a lot to organize this event in Los Angeles. So great job, Roshan, and I hope you keep playing well. And then in the middle of the field, we have a bunch of players with draws. Jan, Maite, Gejovic, Bitoon, and then a couple players that have 1 win and 1 loss. Lee and May, and the unfortunate Vitsal at the bottom. So hopefully they'll be able to bounce back and get a win. So thanks for joining me, everybody, tonight. Come back tomorrow. I'll have more on. I'll try to get on around 7 so we can do a little bit longer stream, or 6, 7 or 8 or something like that. And we will get some good streaming going so you can see these excellent games. Oh, yeah, wait, let's do the recap for the Grandmaster section, too. Let's check out the points. Points. So no perfect scores in the Grandmaster section. Matavishan has 1.5, Mikhalian 1.5, Shatenko 1.5, and the very young Andy Woodward, the player to watch of the event. If you haven't seen my interview with him, go to 1000 GM on YouTube. Just go type it in, 1000 GM, and maybe even Andy Woodward's name. And this kid is going to be a great player. He is going to be an upcoming player, a player to watch. Very young, 10-year-old. He has a shot at beating the youngest Grandmaster ever. So, and he beat a Grandmaster tonight. So he could get a GM norm from this tournament. So, we're going to be watching that closely. And then in the middle of the field, we have Sethurman with 2 draws, Griffith with 2 draws, and Sorkin with a win and a loss, I believe. Wait, no. I think, yeah, because he lost today to Woodward. And then my main man, Kostya Kavutsky, with a 0.5 point, and Bachaloon with a 0.5 point also. And Josiah Stearman, who is also helping to organize this event. Thank you, Josiah, for all your help and your work. We really appreciate it. At the bottom, so hopefully he can bounce back tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to sign off. This is Coach Q, Dylan Quersha, expert and your guide to these events. I'll see you tomorrow. So have a good night and be safe, everyone. Don't get lost on the way to your bedroom. These games are so exciting that don't get lost. All right. Good night, everybody.